Hello and welcome to episode 12.
7.
Okay, fine, 47. This is not a number, this is a free episode.
Episode 4012. We could just be like Prince and call it episode symbol.
The artist formerly known as episode 47.
The lesbians formerly known as us.
And just so you all know, we are now approaching week something or other since the hellish time of having no episodes of Missing Doctor Who returned. Oh no!
Are you?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why I decided to bring that up now.
I don't know. It'll be nice because we'll talk about Doctor Who again, but as far as I know, it's not going to be until September, right?
Well, no, I was talking about the missing episodes rather than the new seasons. But the new season, yeah, it'll be Christmas-ish. The new seasons the missing episode is constantly in a state of rumor and flux.
Wait, go back. Christmas? We're not going to get a new Doctor Who until the next Christmas special?
Oh no, I think that what's happening is we're gonna get. I think the Christmas special is partway through season 8 or something. I'm not entirely sure when it's airing. Well, I guess the Christmas special is airing around Christmas.
So it's about to be like, come on, like, if people could pull together, like, Kick-Assia in, like, a week, you guys can do Doctor Who in less than a year. Let's go.
Well, it took them about 3 months to edit Kick-Assia.
Yeah, but still, that's not a year.
But with the missing episodes, it's just a big sea of rumor and...
I kind of want to say, like, every time you tell me about it, it's more and more fantastical. Like, they found them on the moon base. There was it was like, fine, they're like, we found 50, 100,000 of them. Oh wait, now they found 3, now they found 75. I'm like,
Well, the moon base, that would have been a wonderful place to actually find the episodes called the moon base. But it is quite odd. You've got some facts which are definitely true, like they have 60-odd thousand tapes and film reels of TV shows, but we don't know what country they're from or whatever. So we have these things are definite facts, and we've got sort of rumors of, and at least one of the guys who collects these rumors, he is a guy that I trust implicitly. He's like the most honest person I know, and saying this, he's a very serious Mormon from Utah, but me and him used to get into religious arguments on forums, and he's incredibly trustworthy. So if he is not making shit up, if he might be
being
lying.
Is that the guy you told me to follow on Twitter?
No.
Okay.
But this guy, if he's wrong, he's being lied to. So. But, as far as I'm concerned, nothing is definite until it's actually returned, but I am still very sure that at least some new stories are out there.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But, anyway, apart from Doctor Who, which is the only thing that we ever talk about except for Missandry.
Yes.
The word from last week was brownie, but not in the fun chocolate sense. In the Girl Scout camp sense. Girl Scout camp. Yay. And you really don't have any experience, because you guys don't have the Girl Scouts over there, do you?
Oh, they are. And there's various sort of localized things. Remember, the international scouting movement was an English invention.
Yeah, I know, but the Girl Scouts are distinctly American, because the Boy Scouts grew out of the Rough Riders. But the Girl Scouts were founded by Juliet Love. I know, because we had a play about it when I was a Brownie Scout.
No, brownies is that's a type of Girl Scout over here as well.
Mm.
It's I don't know who invented the original Girl Scouts things. It could possibly be that Juliet Lowe invented the American version of it, but she might have based it on something else. I mean,
well, the fact that there were like things like the Rough Riders or like the Junior Rough Riders and stuff like that does lend credence to the fact that probably a lot of countries had something like that around that time.
This is true. Well, I was always taught that the creator of the idea of the Scouts was Robert Baden-Powell, I think, who was an English guy, and it was very sort of a big colonial type thing. But for all I know, he might have got the idea from somewhere else.
Possible. If you know, write the show. But yeah,
I just looked up Wikipedia. The Girl Scouts was organized after Lowe met Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of Scouting.
Well, there you go. See, I had a little comic book about it, where like it was during World War I, and she and her friends decided that they were going to learn how to like be nurses, like combat nurses. And so they applied tourniquets and like slings and stuff to each other, and they were like, "Mom, look!" And the women thought that their daughters had been in a horrible accident, and they freaked out, and some of them swooned. They're like, no, we were just being nurses. And they were like, let's find a way for you to channel that energy. So that's how it was described to me in the totally accurate little comic book that was probably drawn in 1943.
Sounds like those girls were ready to take after James Miranda Barry.
Wait?
James Miranda Barry, the arch nemesis of Florence Nightingale, who was a sort of respected British Army surgeon who did a lot for cleaning up sort of like soldiers' conditions and things. Probably more than Florence Nightingale, actually, but Florence was a bit more of a romantic figure. But after his death, he was discovered to be a woman.
Oh, right. Because for a second you were like, arch nemesis. And I was like, I didn't know that she had nemesis.
Yeah, those two who did a lot of interesting work about medical stuff in the Crimea, I think it was the Crimea, British Army, and led to a lot of medical cleanliness type things for medicine. They absolutely fucking hated each other.
Honey, I gotta be really honest with you. As your wife, I have no idea what the Crimean War was even about. Like, you always hear people talk about it. Like, who were you even fighting?
And
when
there were several groups it was in the Crimea mostly, and that's where the balaclava was invented.
I don't know where the Crimea is. It could be on the moon for all I know. With the Doctor Who episodes.
No, the Crimean War involved the British Empire and like the Russians and a couple of other groups. It's where the charge of the Light Brigade happened.
So when did this happen?
1860s, I believe.
Okay, so it was a Victorian thing.
Yeah.
Who won?
I believe the British were on the side of victory.
What did
but
you
then
get?
again, this could have been me receiving information that was biased because I grew up in a part of the UK.
So did you get anything for it? Like, what advances came of the Crimean War? What's the lesson that we all should learn from this?
Well, they invented the balaclava.
That's it?
And we had a nice poem about the Light Brigade. I have no idea. It's what 1853 to 1856.
Well, if you're gonna cite it in our discussion about the Scouts.
Well, I was just talking about Barry, because I want to throw some information there. Okay. It was a conflict in which Russia lost to an alliance of France, Britain, and the Ottoman Empire and Sardinia, while neutral Austria played a role in stopping the Russians. Okay, so this was basically the Russians being taking on everyone else. Either the Russians were being belligerent or everyone was bullying Russia. Probably a mixture of the two.
Okay, so everybody, before the Olympics stops, we need some Crimean War jokes on Twitter, stat.
Oh, no, we're going to call the gay guys there and call it the Charge of the Tight Brigade.
That's one of the best things you've ever said in the entire time that I've known you. I'm just saying.
Call this episode Charge of the Tight Brigade.
Got it, babe. But, so anyway, scouting. Now, I was a Daisy Scout when I was little, and then I became a Brownie Scout. Then I was a Girl Scout. I never made it to Cadet because my troop became horrendously dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I've told this story before on Lesbian Talk, but the daughter of the troop leader was kind of a bitch. Like, kind of a real bitch. And so she took my underwear we were camping one time in an A-frame. She took my underwear from out of my bag and she put it up at the top of the tent of the A-frame. I couldn't reach because I'm small. And a wasp went in. I mean, it went back out again, but that's not the point. So I was like, how shall I ever revenge myself? And then I was walking, like, later on that day, and we were in the Pine Barrens. So, you have, like, all the pine needles on the floor, and it's very soft and very dry. And I found an ex-mouse. But this mouse was not rotting. This mouse was kind of dry and hard and mummified. So I took the dead mouse, this mummified mouse of mine, my mummy mouse, and I put it in the bottom of this girl's sleeping bag. And I intended that she would find it when she went to bed. Now, that didn't happen, and she spent the night sleeping with a dead mouse. And then this other girl told on me. And
well, you can laugh at her for being a mouse fucker?
Well, not spent the night with in a romantic sense.
I know, but she slept with a mouse, therefore that's funny.
Oh, none of us even knew the word fucker back then. But so the troop leader, when she brought us home, she gave my dad a lecture in the parking lot, in our driveway. And she's like, oh, and things and stuff, and my dad's like, I know, right, that's horrible, don't worry, I will punish her to the fullest extent or whatever. Because he hated this woman, and he hated her daughter. So she drove away, and I look at my dad, I'm like, am I in trouble? And he's like, no, you're not. And that was the end of my scouting experience. She deserved it. A wasp went in my underwear. Such a thing should never happen to anyone.
I agree.
So have you had any kind of scouting experience? The Baha'i Scouts? Tell me there's Baha'i Scouts. Make my day.
There's not Baha'i Scouts. There's only like 100 Baha'is in Northern Ireland.
Yes, but I'm sure that one of you has some PR experience or some graphic design.
One of you, former Baha'i.
Or well, one of the people that you know. The people of your community.
I have no interesting stories to compare with your wasp story.
Have you ever been camping, at least?
I have never been camping in the way that people usually describe camping as putting in tents and shit like that.
Oh, that's right, because you guys, when you go on vacation, you just go sit in an RV in a field somewhere.
No, that is the avatar of decent humor. My family, whenever we went on holiday, would rent a chalet or rent sort of a small house or something and then spend a week traveling to castles and stuff that were nearby.
That sounds like fun, actually.
It sounds more like fun now than it was when I was a child. As a child, I was like, okay, we'll do all of that if one of these days we can go to the theme park.
That does sound more like you. So adult you is a mix of adult you and Wii you. You're a Wii U.
How can adult me be a mixture of adult me and Wii me?
Because you have, some of your Wii traits.
Yeah, but physically, how can I be a mixture of me now and me then?
Not physically. I mean, metaphorically speaking.
Even though it's the adult, you're creating a paradox.
No, I'm not.
Because adult me is a mixture of adult me and small me. So but then the adult me that is making up of adult me and small me is actually made up of adult me and small me. Every time we could do this loop, there is even less of the adult me there.
Listen, you need to check your metaphysical privilege because I am not going to explain quantum physics to you. But dear, how do you like those Tumblr words?
But we went to Lightwater Valley, which is a theme park I have not been to in many, many years. I'd like to go back, but looking at pictures and stuff, it's not quite as awesome as I recall.
It's called Whitewater Valley?
Lightwater Valley.
Oh. It was called Whitewater Valley. That sounds really American.
It was, at the time, last time I went there years ago, it had the longest roller coaster in the world. Something like 1.2 miles.
Wow.
And it was a Big Dipper type thing. They had some very basic rides, but when I was a kid, it was badass. The other one we went to was...
You could vomit for several kilometers at a time.
Yes. But if I have to go to a theme park in England, I really want to go back to Alton Towers. Or if I'm near London, I want to go to Chesington World of Adventures. At least I think Chesington's near... I think Chesington or Thorpe Park. There's a couple of theme parks near London.
It sounds incredibly British, I'm sorry. No, it sounds so very English is what it sounds. We're going to Chesington's World of Adventures. It sounds like you would
ride on the bubble works.
Yes, it sounds like it's like you put on a pith helmet and pose next to a stuffed tiger.
That would be such the best theme park in the UK.
Mom, can we go to colonial imperialism land? Well, I guess you've been good this week. Yay! We're gonna go oppress colonists.
Well, in Alton Towers, they have a section which is based on colonial Africa.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
No, but it's only really one ride in it.
It's only really a little bit offensive.
It's it's the Rubber Dinghy Rapids is in that section, and you've got a crashed sort of colonial truck and everything on the way, and then...
Hey, baby, you want to ride on the Rubber Dinghy?
Oh, yeah, Rubber Dinghy Rapids are amazing.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I know that I've told you this, but I know I haven't told the audience that this is not a story from the store, but it is from the store. So I was shelving in biography a few weeks ago. There was a new release, and I forget what the book was called. You Google it, and you can probably find it. But it was about this woman who she's white, she's Jewish, I think she's from New York City, but her life's goal is to become the first female Maasai warrior.
Oh, dear.
And I looked at that, and I'm like, so you're not even a Maasai. You're not, not born into the tribe or anything. You have no connection to the Maasai whatsoever. But you think that, for some reason, you are special enough to be the first female Maasai warrior. Not an actual Maasai female. And then I was like, wow, Tumblr was right. Cultural appropriation really exists.
See, now you've noticed it. It's like it's like the bit in the Matrix where someone sees the world for the first time.
I mean, I understand the phenomenon. It's not like something that I deny exists. But I think a lot of times people take it to hyperbole that doesn't need to go to. Like, if I'm at work, and I say to a coworker, you know what? I think when I get off work, I'm going to go over to Chipotle. And I think I'm going to get some lunch at Chipotle. And then, he or she would turn to me and be like, yeah, why don't you just, kill off the rest of the Aztecs and Inca while you're at it? I'll be like, that has nothing to do with my lunch whatsoever.
Take you to Chipotle?
I know.
You'll love some of the sections they've got in Chessington World of Adventures. Because you've got the Land of the Dragons, Mexicana.
Oh my goodness.
Transylvania.
That sounds cool.
The Pirate's Cove.
So does that.
Wild Asia.
Oh my god.
The Mystic East.
That's even worse.
They have their Ferris wheel is called the Peking Heights. There's the Forbidden Kingdom, and there's Market Square and Zufari.
It sounds like next that you'll tell me something like, it's like next you'll tell me that, we also have Shangri-La, ancient forbidden city of the sodomites and buggers. Like, do they have a phrenology booth too, where you can stop and get your head read?
I really wish, but they have like a sea lion section and all with a zoo there as well.
I don't want to go to this place. I want you to take me to that real life Victorian town that was in Victorian Pharmacy.
That I don't know, but there's a couple of places like that which we will go to at some point.
We can take a bus.
But
and I want to go to Scarborough too.
I want to go to Scarborough as well. I've never been. But Chessington, I want to go to Chessington because it's a theme park that looks interesting that I've never been to, and I'm sorry, but I like theme parks.
Chessington.
World of Adventure.
I'm sorry. It just sounds like so Mr. Livingston, I presume. I don't know why I think that, but I do. If you're from Chessington, write the show. But, you know what I was thinking about the other day? And I wanted to ask you about this.
Yes, I know exactly because I'm psychic.
No, it's because we discussed what we were going to talk about before the show, and this is my segue. But now that you've ruined it for everyone. No, I was in the car the other day. Actually, this is where I came up with the idea for the topic. And I was thinking about... Now, I've heard it called geek cred. But the idea that there are certain things that every geek should have done to be able to call themselves geek, or certain milestones that you have to hit, or certain ways that you can get extra geek cred. No, go with me for a second. I'm trying to think of a really good way to explain this. For example, I'm gonna admit this. I'm not proud of it, and I might get hate mail for it, but I gotta let you guys know, I never played Final Fantasy VII. I owned it, and I was at college, and I put it on one afternoon, and I was like, all right, I'm going to play, and I got 5 minutes in, and then my friends called me and said, hey, we're going to head into Chambersburg and get some food and go see movies. Do you want to come? And I said, yeah. But then when I got back, I had a paper to write, and I just never ended up getting back to it, and I eventually traded it in. And there's a lot of people that I was friends with, in years after, who'd be like, oh, how can you never have played Final Fantasy VII? It's like the game. And I was like, well, I didn't. I've heard, I loved Ocarina of Time, but I've heard people say, well, how can you never have played Ocarina of Time to people? They're like, well, I just,
Yeah, well, people's definition of the geek and stuff is quite odd. It's they have really arbitrary things. It's okay, I don't give a shit about the Zelda games. I played Link to the Past. I never finished it.
I gotta admit, and I'm gonna write an article about this for an advice from my video game column, that that Christmas morning, playing Ocarina of Time, the first thing I thought was, wow, this is what the N64 was made for. But continue. I loved it.
I'm afraid my most intelligent comment about sort of this sort of thing is, people be stupid, yo.
Stop culturally appropriating, yo. I'm watching you.
People are just idiots. They have this idea that the way that they do things is entirely right. So if you do things differently, you're entirely wrong.
Well, not as much not like in a bad way, not like people like putting others down or bullying them over it, but kind of like, okay, like think about it this way. If someone said to you, what are 5 things that you would say that every geek has probably done or liked, et cetera, like what would you even put, you know? Like, because I was thinking about this, I was like, played original Nintendo. But I was like, that really doesn't hold up because a lot of people who are young just, you know, they never played original Nintendo or Super Nintendo or Genesis or anything like that. Or
I would say that there is no way to really to come up with 5 things that they have all done because everything's so different, everything's so broad. Because geek is a very nebulous term. It's a term trying to say what is a true one of those. It just doesn't work.
I guess it's like, are you a true gamer girl kind of thing.
Well, the only way to define if someone's a true gamer girl or not is, are they a girl and do they
play
I mean,
but games? Like like you're a fake geek girl, you don't really like comics, you don't really like this and stuff.
Yeah, that's just a long history of guys. This is a little bit of indictment.
Yeah, I've seen this with guys and girls equally though, so you can't really say it's a sexist thing.
I just noticed that a lot of guys in quote-unquote nerd and geek culture are very, very sexist. And my personal theory about this is that they grew up being bullied and harassed for being geeks, and so they have got it into their minds that they cannot be bullies or harassers themselves because they were the victims of this. They are the victims. They are the ones who are on the lowest rung of society, so therefore they cannot be doing this. And so that colors their view, and it lets them bully and harass people without realizing what they're doing.
But like I'm saying, that it's not. I think you're taking it like a bit harsher than I mean it. Not like a horrible thing, like, you know, like when you. Okay, so in RDA, like pretty much every other week, National State of Terror. It's like what happened in blah 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 movie, like Blade Runner, for example. It should be like, oh, and I'll go, you haven't seen Blade Runner, have you? She goes, no. Like, you know, when you say to me, you've not seen that movie? Wait, how had you never seen that movie? I'm like, well, it never came up. You know, like, it's usually in a good-natured way. It's not in a bad way.
If it's someone, the ideal way to react to that is, oh, then I've got to show you this because it's so awesome you'll enjoy it. You know? That's the good reaction to that.
Let me pull an NES out of the back of my pants.
I get one of those Retron
where I've been keeping it since 1987.
Get one of the Retrons.
Those look pretty cool. I mean, if I didn't have about 1 billion consoles cluttering up the area around my TV, that would totally be what I was doing. You said your brother really wants to get one.
Yeah. Teddy runs an anime and video game club in Derry, and they're doing very well, and they have a bunch of like equipment and stuff that they bought, and he has expressed an interest in buying a Retron, or getting Omega to buy a Retron and then bring it over. They've also expressed interest in getting Omega to buy a PS4 and bring it over because it's cheaper than buying one over here.
Well, here's my fear about that. And the thing is that it's how I'm going to get the box on a passenger plane without it becoming damaged. Like, it would have to be carry-on. And then I'd have to be lugging it. So, I mean, I think it would be more feasible for me to buy it, him to PayPal me back the money, and me to ship it. But then even still, I'll have to ship it in styrofoam in a larger... We'll think of something.
Yeah, the shipping is what I would go for, but the Retron looks small enough that you could put it into a large hand luggage bag.
Yeah, I mean, and what did they say they were like? They were like $45? I couldn't remember.
$60.
$60? That's not bad. If you don't know what we're talking about, there's going to be a picture that will have been up for the past few minutes of this.
The Retron is it's a console that someone invented, which has got like 3 or 4 consoles all jammed together, and you can play old games on it.
It does NES, SNES, and I think it was either Sega or N64. I can't remember. But if you search Retron, you can probably find it. We saw it at a game shop at King of Prussia Mall.
Yeah, it was really cool. And just so you know, honey, I have, in the last couple of minutes, looked through Chessington World Adventures, and whenever I take you to London, we're going to go there, because it's very, very, very easy to get to from London.
Okay.
And it's actually cheaper to get a hotel there and go to the park than to do the same sort of thing in Alton Towers.
Oh, because it's all the way up yonder. Towers is.
Yeah, Alton Towers is in the Midlands, but using the Alton Towers Hotel is more expensive apparently than using the Chessington. So that's what we're going to do at some point.
I'll get my pith helmet ready. You know what I want to see? And I really want to see this, and I know it will never happen. I want to see some kind of emulator for the Virtual Boy. Because I bought it. I bought it when it came out because it looked cool, and I had my first job, I think it was like that I worked at the mall, and so I had a lot of disposable income for a kid, and I was like, yes! So I bought it, and one of my favorite games, which was Super Wario World, I would play that like for hours, and the thing is that, you know, when it came out afterwards, that Virtual Boy actually kind of destroyed your eyesight. I never had any of those effects because I always played with my glasses on.
Oh yes, because of your eye issues.
Yeah, because I have terrible vision anyway. So I either want the Virtual Boy to come back, or I want an emulator because I really, really, really want to play Super Wario World again. I
wouldn't be surprised if someone did it at some point.
I've been looking. Every so often I remember and I search the web. If anyone knows, write the show.
I think someone will do it, you know, at some point. I don't know when it would be. Have you seen the Angry Video Game Nerds video about the Virtual Boy?
No, I haven't. I've started following him on Twitter because he's been ranting about YouTube copyright strikes, and I'm like, relevant to my interests. So I probably should.
Mr. Rolf is apparently a very nice guy, but I have never met him.
Well, that's what everyone says. I mean, I've never seen his show, but...
He's very nice, very private.
Well, he was the guy that was standing around when Spoonie was yelling betrayal, right?
Oh, no, that was, the betrayal ones, that was Angry Joe.
Oh.
James Rolfe is different.
Okay. Well, I'll figure something out.
At some point, I'll show you the brawl.
You showed it to me once before.
Oh, did I? Okay.
Yeah. I was like,
he was in that.
Who's that little kid? Why are they beating him up? Oh, that's a joke. Okay.
Yeah, but now you've seen everyone else. So you've met everyone, so you'd be able to understand it more.
Yeah, but like the real old people who are like long gone, I'm like, who's that? You're like, it's so and so. They made 3 videos and vanished. Exactly. But anyway, do you know what time it is? It doesn't say the dictionary.
It's time for the music break.
It is. It's time to get down and get funky with Tony Goldmark. Note that Tony will not actually come through your speakers and get funky with you. That's a artistic license. Although, what if that happened? Like, how did I get here? Who are you? Did you know I was in a Weird Al video?
Did you know I was in a Lesbian Talk once?
It was.
I appeared in two episodes of Hagan.
That's true, he has. So, we'll see you on the other side. You know I'm only going to cut that out.
I was just speaking backwards. It's necessary. Don't interfere with my religious beliefs.
It's not, so we're back, as if you didn't know that already.
Yes, we are. I believe you have a story you're going to impart to us.
Not yet.
At some point, you're going to have to do.
What?
You're going to have to write down all these stories and then put them into a book.
I've thought about it. I really have. I mean, a lot of people have done similar. Actually, there's a really great book called Strange Things Customers Say in Bookstores. And it's actually by a British woman who runs a small used bookshop, I think, somewhere in England. Not sure where. Could be London. I don't know. But she actually took submissions online. And a bookseller that I worked with at my second store, her submission got in. I didn't see it until it was too late, so I couldn't submit anything. But, yeah, a lot of us on the Facebook group have talked about, we should put a book together. And there's a guy, and I can put his web address up while we're, on the visual. But his name is Mike, and he works at the bookstore, and he's been doing a comic for years and years about working there. And he has a little link on his site to send him an email if you would back a Kickstarter. So eventually, hopefully, he's going to start a Kickstarter to get that published.
Cool.
He also does T-shirts.
T-shirts!
Okay, but before we do that, we have something else to attend to.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
We're gonna shoot the lobster?
No, don't shoot me. Jesus Christ.
What if we shot you with butter?
How did you even end up on the internet in the first place? These are questions I ask myself at night.
How you can shoot yourself with butter? You call me crazy, you fucking lobster.
Never mind. So, hello, my adoring fans. Hello, people. I'm on the internet. It's me, Giovanni Jones, the lobster. So, I have a trivia fact for you.
And this is to celebrate the fact that pretty much most of the the southeast part of the country is under ice right now. It's moving steadily northeast as nor'easters are wont to do, so we're about to be buried in 10 to 14 inches of snow. So here's something about both the East Coast and the cold. Are you ready? Okay. Now, did you know that snowballs, also known as slushies, snow cones, and shaved ice, were invented in Baltimore? It's true. It happened during the American Industrial Revolution, so it's actually a little bit older than everyone thinks.
Hey, Giovanni. I wonder if that includes water ice. But I have an interesting thing to tell you.
Oh, do tell. I'm so interested in this interesting thing.
I ate one of your cousins at MagFest.
How do you know it was one of my cousins? Did you, plot the family tree?
Yes, and so did Omega.
You didn't. So you didn't know. So you're just being specious again. But hey, I'm used to that. Just what I have to deal with as a lobster. So my adoring public, I'll see you all next week.
You're so mean to him all the time. When I'm dead, he'll be all you have left.
Sometimes you comment on how I'm not being mean to him.
Yeah, and
I gotta keep everyone on their toes.
So actually, now it's time for the story from the store.
Okay. Let's go.
Don't you have anything smart to say?
I'll sit here, drink my Pepsi, and be all like, I'm telling a story because I'm Omega.
Because that's exactly what I sound like. With that exact voice and everything.
Yes.
One of these days, I'm just not going to say anything and be like, alright, you tell the story, and just let you sit there awkwardly and be like, well, once upon a time, I went to a shop, and it was Poundland, and I bought some crisps. The end. That's your story from the store. Actually, no, this is a little bit different. So if you're just joining us for the first time you've ever listened to the podcast, I have worked for the past nearly 10 years at a large chain bookstore, and I have pretty much seen it all. I've seen the awful, the wacky, the cute, and the wondrous, and the story is one of them. Now, this is a little bit different because this is not something that I personally witnessed. However, this happened 2 nights ago, and my manager told me about it yesterday, and it was just too wonderful not to share. So I was sitting in the break room, because I had arrived at work a little bit early, and I was reading a book by the Mr. Mark Steele that some wife of mine got signed for me when he was in Derry. Don't know who that could have been.
Yes, I did.
Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting there, and I'm eating a snack, and I'm reading the book, and, manager comes in for her break.
And you're sort of fondling the signature.
I was like, ooh, talk socialist to me, baby. Which is funny if you've ever heard Mark Steele. But so, anyway, another person came in, and she was closing as well. And the manager said to her, oh my gosh, did you hear what happened with the drunk guy last night? And immediately, I was paying attention. I was like, drunk guys are stories or drama, do tell. And one of the other managers, who was an old friend of mine, brought in because he ran out to get some pizza, so we're all sitting there. And so apparently, this guy had come in. It was very close to closing. And he was kind of like wild-eyed and stuff like that. And he kept coming up to register and like backing away. And the cashier's like, do you need help, sir? And he's like all wild-eyed and weird and out of it. And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to like charge my phone. Like somewhere if I could like charge my phone. And he was like, seemed really, really out of it. And she was like, well, I guess if you really, really need to, go to customer service and they can let you plug it in there. He's like, oh, okay. So he kept... I was never clear on if he actually plugged his phone in because she didn't exactly tell me that part. But he kept like going back out and in through like we have 2 doors in the store. So he kept going in one and out the other and stuff like that. And the manager was like, what's he up to? Is he like casing the place? Is he trying like to shoplift? So she walks past him and just like this wave of alcohol like hits her. And he's throughout this time getting progressively drunker. She's like, how is he getting drunker? And so she's like wandering around the parking lot, they're coming in, they're walking away, then walking around the store. So she calls the police. And she explains, and she says, like, he's not, like, bothering anyone, he's not hurting anything, but I just thought I should let you know and make you aware. And while she's on the phone with dispatch, somebody who works at the Pier 1 near us comes over with a bag from our store and says, oh, here, that guy that's wandering around the parking lot, he left that, and so it's his, so here you go. And because it was, it was because it was our bag, became our problem. And so my manager looked in the bag, and it had some books that he just purchased, because the receipt and everything. Also had 2 handles of vodka. Not like little airplane bags, 2 full handles of vodka. And she's telling the story, and I said, was it Vladimir? And she goes, oh my god, yes it was. Because, honey, I know that you don't know, but Vladimir is a kind of really, really, really cheap, really bad vodka. It's like, you get like a gallon of it for like $5. It's in a plastic container, and it has like this silhouette of this Russian guy with a big beard in front of like, the onion top towers that they have over there. It's just horrible. So, now while she's on the phone with this wife, she's like, yeah, Pier 1 just dropped stuff off, and now we have his possessions too. And so the officer's like, all right, well, we'll send someone around. So she's down by the door, and the guy's like, rambling around, and then he leaves, and he's walking around the parking lot, and she sees the police pull up, and she's like, okay, well, I should go try to find where he is. And then as she's going through the cafe, she sees him being put in the cop car. She's like, okay, so, they've got him and stuff like that. So she goes, well, I should go out and talk to the police anyway, just in case they want to report or anything. So she goes out, and she thought that the policeman was coming around to meet her. But he goes out, and we have a dumpster in the middle of the parking lot in this little compound where, there's, an electrical junction there, too, and pulls up another one of our bags full of bottles of vodka. So he's, leaving them in, stashes around the parking lot. And so that was the end of the story so far. She was really concerned that he would come back and try to return the books, not remembering having purchased them. And we don't know if he was arrested. I mean, he was drunk, but he wasn't exactly disorderly, so maybe they just, took him home or something like that. But, because it was, about 10 degrees Fahrenheit that night. And that's my story.
Interesting.
It's a living.
Interesting.
What do you mean, interesting? Is that your go-to because you don't know what to say?
Yes.
Okay. Are you dying?
No.
Okay.
No.
One time, I told this whole big long story to her, and then she was like, okay, and then immediately launched into, something that was totally unrelated. And I said, were you just waiting for me to stop talking so you could tell your story? And she goes, dying. And I said, is that trying to change the subject? Dying. And it was really funny. Because it's exactly what you had done.
And then there was the other one where, to get out of something, I claimed that my jacket was going to explode.
She was like, oh, there could be, a jacket explosion. I was like, it's not going to be a jacket explosion. And, a minute later, she goes, boom. And it was the best thing ever.
But we're going to talk now, at least for a little while, because Valentine's Day is coming up.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, now... We're almost getting used to it by this point, but we've never actually spent a Valentine's Day together, although...
You know what? You're right.
To me, it's not a massive deal, because as far as I'm concerned, it's a completely artificial holiday. I would prefer to give gifts on random days.
Yeah, I feel the same way, quite honestly.
So
it just means chocolate will go on sale in a few days.
Yeah, so it's not the most massive deal, but I figured that this would be a nice time to talk about... basically how we got together, because I'm not entirely sure...
Because everyone is so interested about our personal lives.
Well, it's not going to be a massive segment.
And all the people in the comments would be like, you know what was the best part? Where they talked about how they met. I was riveted. I decided to stop accusing them of misandry forever. Amen.
Yeah, the power of love won.
The power of love compels your comments. There you go. Well... it's not, the biggest secret, I guess. I mean, I was in a LARP association, that, the same one that Derek the Bard is in, Nash
was in.
Yeah, he's not a member anymore. If you go on RDA, Catherine's a member, Tara used to be a member, Darth David, the mod, he's a member, So I knew about RDA back when RDA was kind of an in-character-ish radio show. I wasn't a member of the organization that long ago, and that's all it was, but for a long time it was audio only, and it was, music and his comedy bits, and it was just fun. And he would, every Monday, he would put a little announcement in the IRC room that everybody hung out in the LARP organization, and say, oh, I'm starting RDA if anyone wants to come in. So, around the time that I moved to Maryland, I started listening every week, because usually I would just listen when I wasn't at work or when I had time. And that was around about the time when he transitioned over to visual. And I didn't know anything about that guy with the glasses or Nostalgia Critic or whatever. I knew, like, he started to occasionally show, like, Lupa's stuff, and I'm like, hey, Obscurus Lupa, she's funny. I like her stuff, it's funny. And he would show, like, Sin Wicked's reviews and some of Derek's early stuff, and I was like, that's cool, because I didn't know anybody or, you know, the community or anything like that. And then, let's see, it was that summer. I'm trying to remember. I think the first one that he played was Ilza She-Wolf of the SS, which should have been a tip-off to me. And I was like, wow, that was really funny, but I was also kind of fucked up because that was a Nazi torture porn movie. Huh, that's weird. Because I watched Mystery Science Theater, so I knew the basic idea of riffing and stuff like that. And I think the next week he played Rat's Night of Terror. And then the week after that, he played Story of Ricky. And at that point, I remembered your name, and I Googled it. And then
it's like It's like he was going back in time with my reviews.
Well, honey, at that point in time, it was, you know, that was right before Left Behind.
Oh, I know, but he started out, like, Rats, and then Ilsa Rats. I think it's like going in reverse.
Oh. Well, I think he played Ricky because somebody requested that one specifically. I remember that in a separate chat room I was talking to Derek, and he was like, oh yes, I've talked to Diamanda before, she's really nice. And I was like, oh, so maybe that's just an act. Well, her stuff seems funny, and I found you on your forum on Geek Fighters.
I remember Geek Fighters.
And I was like, that's cool, this is neat. And I watched all the reviews that you had up, and I was like, wow, she's really funny and really smart and stuff like that. And then the first new one that I saw of yours was Left Behind. And so I wasn't sure if you were just putting on a character who was gay or you were gay yourself. You know? Because you had the line in there, like, how it's easy to play against type. And you're like, oh, and I really love the cock. And I was like, maybe she really is. But you know what? I was, like, when I found out you were, then I was really worried that, because, you know, I forget which episode Avatar Decent Humor first shows up, but I was like, oh,
Memory Run.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's probably her girlfriend. Oh. So I thought Nicola was your girlfriend.
Oh.
But then, so I watched your stuff, and then I found your flubs, and I saw how you were, like, in real life. And I was like, oh, she's not, like, Hagan in real life. And then I was like, I should, you know, but I didn't know what to do if I should be like, I'm hi, you've never heard of me, but I think you're cute, you know? Because how do you do that? Like, across the internet. It's really weird.
Well, you, just sort of left a message, and then you sent me a full-on message.
Well, I did. I found you on YouTube, and I subscribed to your channel, because I've had a YouTube account since, like, 2002. And I was like, oh, you should watch 13th Child, Legend of the Jersey Devil. It's so bad. Haha. Also, you're cute. And you're like, oh, that's cool. I've never heard of that movie, but I'll definitely check it out. And I was like, that's not the response that I wanted. And so I was at the Renaissance Fair, the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, and I spent all day walking around thinking, like, should I, like, try to say something more or what? So finally that night I got home and I had a few drinks. I'm like, all right, I have courage now. So I sent her a private message on Facebook, and I was like, I kind of like you, and I think that you're cute and everything, and you're really smart and funny and stuff. Okay, bye. And I thought you wouldn't even answer. You'd be like, totally creepy, not answering at all.
And I reacted a way that you did not expect.
Yeah, she was like, oh, that's cool. You know, we should totally talk on Skype. You can find me there at Diamanda Hagan. Bye. And I was like, what's Skype? I've never heard of this. So I asked on Facebook, I'm like, does anyone know what Skype is? And some friends were like, yeah, it's like video conferencing. It's okay. And I'm like, oh, no, it's video conferencing. So I set up a Skype account, and I downloaded Skype and everything. But I didn't want to, like, look bad and make a bad impression. So I actually put, because the webcam on my first laptop was part of the laptop. So this is terrible. I took all these, the biggest gaming books that I could find, and I balanced the laptop on top of them, so it would be like a downward angle kind of thing. And then I found out that you never used the video part of Skype anyway.
I still don't. I don't have a webcam. If you ever see me on webcam, it's because I'm at a laptop.
Oh yeah, I didn't know, and I was like, hi. Stuff and things, and then We talked for a bit, and then you were like, well, I have to go because it's 1,000,000 in my country, but talk to you another time. And I was like, okay. And then, like, I think either the next day or 2 days later, I was like, hi, what's up? And you're like, hey, how you doing? Stuff.
And we went from there.
That's the story.
It took us about just over a year to get married.
No, more than that, because
year and a half?
We started talking in September of 2010, and then I met you in person in January of 2011. We started dating May 12th, actually, of 2011. I forget when we actually decided that we were engaged. So no, I remember talking with Basil and Kitsunika about it, but and because we were sitting watching the otters at the New Orleans Zoo, and you were like, yeah, we're probably gonna get married. And they were like, congratulations! I'm like, oh, it's not like a decision we just decided now. It's kind of like that's probably what we're gonna do.
Yeah, we're a bit unusual in that way.
And people were like, oh, so did you propose or did she propose? How did it happen? I was like, oh, we just kind of decided, really. And
we figured it'll happen at some point.
Yeah,
so. And then we got married in October 2012. And with that, in characteristic unusual sense, we had no dress code at the wedding, and then we had no... the party was held at one of Omega's friends' houses, and then we had no... The honeymoon was going to the Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair.
Well, yeah, because it was there, and, because my own best friend and her husband and son, they were like, oh, yeah, we can go to that, and then that was cool. Well, the reason we had no dress code at the wedding is I wanted everybody to feel comfortable, because one of the suckiest things about going to, like, something formal is, you end up in something that you don't want to wear, and you feel bad about how you look, so I just wanted everyone just wear what you want, It's my wedding, so it's awesome.
Yeah, that's the way I felt. Yeah, some people in suits, some people came in semi-suits, some people came looking like they'd already got drunk, some people came wearing, like, coyote skin pelts or unikilts or whatever.
No, because Ash's nickname is Coyote, so that's why.
Yeah, I'm just saying that everyone came in very different stuff.
Yeah, and then, my own friend Chris, yeah, he was wearing a kilt, which I thought was pretty funny because Czar's father is Scottish for realsies, and, probably, would wear a kilt in his spare time if he felt like it.
If he felt like it, he doesn't often do it, though. And Todd in the Shadows came in a t-shirt.
Well, that's
and a hoodie.
Well, no, it was really nice because Lindsay had said, when you guys get married, we would like to come. And so I said, yeah, sure, you can come. So it was really great because they drove all the way down from New York. And we figured, because they weren't going to be able to stay long, for the reception, we said, well, you know what, come a little bit early. We'll take you out to lunch, So then they went to the wedding, actually did stop by the reception for a little bit, and then drove all the way back up to New York City. So it was really nice of them to come. Just makes the wedding picture awkward on Facebook, because I was like, oh, shit. So, because obviously, every people in the reviewing community know who Lindsay is, so the guy next to her is obviously going to be Todd. I'm like, oh, crap. So in MS Paint, I blacked out most of his face, except for the part that you see in his videos.
Yeah.
And then somebody, a personal friend of mine from school, PM'd me, was like, what's with that guy with the face? Did you, get in a fight with him? And you blacked around the picture, no. He's got an identity. Can't compromise his identity.
It was quite odd that neither of us were the most well-known at our own wedding.
What are you going to do? It was really funny, too, because they had asked, we can't leave Callie all day. Can we bring her? And I asked the woman whose ceremony room it was, and she said, oh, sure, dogs and kids. Yeah, that's fine. So we had a 5-year-old and a little dog skittering around, and there are pictures of the wedding. It looks like I'm looking down, solemnly, but I'm trying not to laugh because we have this beautiful ceremony going on, and it was a hardwood floor, so in the other room, you hear Callie skittering around.
It was great.
It really was, getting married, it was a great experience. But no, it was lots of fun, and, would definitely do again.
And, apart from that,
our parents got along pretty well, so okay.
Oh yeah, they do get on. Since then they've sort of gone on holiday together in Edinburgh.
But so if you always wanted to know, well,
yeah, and Ever since then, we're still forced to live separately, but
we're working on that.
Hopefully it'll change at some point.
I've gotten a request from the university to provide my transcripts. Now, albeit this was after I asked them, hey, since I'm international, how am I going to send you my transcripts? And then emailing this woman again 2 weeks later and be like, hey, so about that email that you never answered. But, so I've sent that today, so hopefully that means I should hear soon.
Yeah, I hope next time you have something like that, don't wait 2 weeks, just wait like 2 days.
Yes, I know, but see, if it was an American woman that I was corresponding with, I would have replied after a week, or even maybe a half a week, because we have the follow-up culture of, well, if I haven't heard, you pester something, oh, I'm just following up, But I've heard that other people from other countries think that Americans are very demanding, so I really didn't want to come off as, too American,
Well, that's okay, honey. It would be fine.
I mean, I'm worried. I had kind of grades in high school. Really But I had, 2 semesters, one at Temple University, one at Shippensburg, and I had a cumulative 3.95. I made Dean's List both times, so I'm hoping that's enough.
I think you'll be okay. They're more likely to look at the higher up grades than the lower ones. They won't pay much attention to the high school stuff as long as you've got... I didn't do very well in that equivalent either, and I sort of got into university based on stuff that I got in college.
Well, I'm hoping they pay attention to the college stuff because the high school stuff was from the 90s, and obviously...
I think you'll be fine.
I'm just I think I've kind of got the idea that this college is this university is kind of like the equivalent of, like a state school, like Penn State or something like that. And I'm kind of treating it like Ivy League, I hope I get in. And they're like, so you're going to pay then? Yeah. Okay, you're accepted. And I'll have to, learn how to say grand every 5 seconds. Because that's what you do in Ireland. Everything's
Northern
grand.
Ireland.
It's grand.
So hopefully that'll all wind up okay.
I hope so. I mean, I reckon it will. But, so yeah, if you always had a burning desire to know our business, well, you do now.
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
That's what I have to say about that. But, yeah, so we're going to talk about reality TV shows, but I don't think that we'll quite have time. So we have a little bit of time left, but not enough time for that.
Oh, dear.
So I'll have to save that for another day. Yeah, because that's a big topic, though, because I don't watch a lot of the I don't want to say the stupider reality TV shows, but I don't watch a lot of the lowest common denominator ones. But some I do find interesting. You had that show Oddities that you found on Netflix. And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, my last trip over there, I developed a fascination, shall we say, for a couple of reality TV shows. Previous to that, the only one I watched was RuPaul's Drag Race.
Well, I like the ones that, I like Oddities because it's about a pawn shop. Not really a pawn shop, but a consignment shop in New York City. And apparently they're starting one in California somewhere, too. Where they buy... Oh,
yeah, there's a San Francisco spin-off of Oddities.
Oh, okay, cool. And they buy, weird old antiques like guillotines and, taxidermy and just all these really weird stuff. And it's pretty interesting. So, I thought that was kind of cool, but I don't watch, American Idol or Honey Boo Boo or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, that's a piece of shite.
I have seen Toddlers and Tiaras because I went to go visit with Vera from Nerdvice once when I lived in Baltimore. And she said, have you ever seen Toddlers and Tiaras? I was like, nope, I've watched it like the plague. And she's like, you really need to watch it because it is such a train wreck. So we watched a few episodes of it, and wow, it was a train wreck. Although we watched one episode, I did like one of the girls because she was 12 or 13, and her whole goal in life, her career goal, was she wanted to design clothes. So all of the outfits that she wore, she designed and sewed herself. And the money that she got from placing in pageants, she would put towards more expensive cloths and sewing supplies and stuff like that. And her mom's like, well, I had my doubts, but she said, she's balancing it with her schoolwork, and it's really fun for both of us. And I was like, all right, those people I accept. They're all right. They get my approval. Everybody else, trash.
I managed to watch 3 seasons of... So I managed to watch 2 seasons of Oddities and 3 seasons of Storage Wars since SmagFest.
Storage Wars is staged, though.
Oh, I know.
It's not even the way that people think it works.
Oh, yeah, they definitely stage at least decent chunk of them, but I find it fascinating for some reason. And now I've started on looking at Storage Wars Texas.
Oh no.
The people are much more irritating in that, although there is one guy who is pretty much LC.
Really? But from Texas?
Yeah. No, this is a guy from New York.
You should tell LC, maybe it's like his uncle or something. Well, it could be.
Yeah, the characters, like, the characters in Texas are really sort of, like, bothersome. You've got, like, a...
How bothersome. That was so British of you.
You got, like, these couple of, sort of, there's good old boys sitting there talking about shit. But then you've also got, like, this sort of irritating woman with her husband who's less irritating. And then you've got this guy who looks like a... He looks like a badly disguised... He looks like a historian attempting to dress him up like Charlie Chaplin, but played by a Muppet.
What?
Yeah. This guy, he's called Mo. And then you got the guy from New York. And it's just like, you guys are much more irritating than the ones from the Californian ones. Because at least the Californian ones, most of them are likable. Especially Barry, who is clearly just sort of there because he's friends with the producer.
No, I've, like, seen pretty much 15 minutes of one of these shows once, and then I read the article about how they're all staged. And, although I have to confess, and again, we should save this part of the discussion for another day, but because it's enough of a topic, I love the hoarding shows. And I don't know why. I think maybe you watch them, and then you just feel really good about how clean your house is. But it's compelling, and I'm just so fascinated. I'm like, why can't you throw it away? Like, I know that a lot of times there's a trauma or there's a mental issue involved, but it's just so, like, it's trash. Just throw it away.
Well, with the hoarding one,
you're a hoarder, right, the show?
I find that show, I find it a bit cruel. Although I understand that Storage Wars would be cruel as well because someone has had to either run out of money or die for each of those lockers. So, there's cruelty there, but it's not upfront and in camera.
I know. It basically is exploitation of people with mental illnesses specifically for an audience. Although, some of them are better than others. Like, some of them, like, give them money for aftercare. So it's not just like someone cleans up your house, but then you just start right back over again. Like, they provide the family with money for a person to be in aftercare and to see a therapist regularly and to really, try to work on some of their issues. And that's good. I do like that. But yeah, some of them are just basic exploitation of the mentally ill, which technically is really bad. So
yeah, so I find those ones difficult.
I like Animal Cops, even though it hasn't been on in years, where they go and they get the people that were abusing the animals and they kick them. No, they don't kick them, but
Really got to show you Death Valley at some point, it's like Cops or something like that. It's a fake reality TV show where it's set around this small town where like zombies and werewolves and vampires start appearing, and this is like a special police group who deal with them.
But it's done like a reality TV show?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
It's great.
I think I could get into that.
It only lasted for like one season, but it's really good.
One season in yours or one season in America?
Oh, it's an American show.
Oh, okay. Well, I asked because one season for a British show could mean 3.5 episodes, where it could mean a full 13 for America.
Yeah, for things like that, you've got Dirk Gently only lasted like that many episodes, but this is like at least 15 episodes.
Well, that's pretty good then.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we're going to have to gently Dirk another day. You see what I did there?
Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, because it is dictionary time. So I've got the Oxford American Dictionary here in my hands. What page should I turn to?
74.
No, you did that one last time.
73.
No, stop doing because we get A's and B's all the time.
122.
All right. Okay, 1 or 2?
2.
Out of 18.
12.
Well, I hope this is a good omen. Collegiate. Of or belonging to college or college student.
Hopefully we'll have some news on that type in about a month anyway.
Sure, and I can talk about my times at Shippensburg. That was interesting.
I could talk about my time at college in Derry and the university in England. A university.
In the Midlands.
Yeah, the university campus I went to is shutting down in a couple of years.
Oh no, where will everybody go?
I don't know, but they had a really expensive film department, and it's apparently going to go, and with state-of-the-art equipment and everything. Probably going to...
Do you think maybe you could, like, buy it at auction kind of thing and get some cool stuff?
They might have some sort of auction, but I would never be able to afford it. Someone else is gonna get it. Like about 5 years ago, it had cost about £15 million.
Oh, that's a pretty good point.
The setup they had.
But anyway, this week I have been the Omega Geek as always, and who do you want to have been this week?
I have been Barry Weiss from Storage Wars.
Sure. Can go with that. See y'all next time.